What's up, guys, and welcome to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the round number 11 of the USANZ NASCAR series here. Not many people in the server at the moment, but things will be picking up here shortly. As you can see, there's only a few people on track. Let's go and have a look at who's on. Gareth Anderson there coming out of turn 2 in the 00 car. In front of him is Dave Stickman Sr. Currently as the number 4 car. Russell Arnold in the 34. Gregory Harris in the 24 is on track. Bruce Rivers in the 95 is also on track. There's some people starting to get onto track now. We're about, I don't know, 8 minutes away from the end of this practice session before we head into qualifying. This is where business is going to start picking up. Hope everyone's having a good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever it happens to be in your certain part of the world. And as you can see there from the standings, Ashton Crowder is on top of the timetables with a 29.878. Timothy Swiggett, P2, just a point. 105 behind him. David Mott Jr. in third, Russell Arnold fourth. There's a very difficult track here, this New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Very low amount of banking in the corners. They're long swooping corners as well. Once upon a time, the fast way around here was the third lane, where you keep up the momentum and get around the people on the inside, but not so much anymore. Seems that evolution of setups here on iRacing has changed it so the inside to middle is more of the lane you got to be in. You see some cars getting around here behind Gareth. Gareth currently down in 12th. The timing tables there with a 30.341, 0.708 off the top time set there by Ashton Crowder. Now looking at Jason McQuinn in the 23 car, Alexander Russell just behind him. And around goes Alexander Russell in the 42 coming out of turn 2. That is going to be one of the areas we're going to have to watch his corner exit as 27. And I think that was the 4 come together. 27 is actually the 72 of Ashton Crowder. So mistake for Crowder, something that we're not used to seeing. A little bit of a chink in the armor there. And there is a 4 of Stiltman Jr. Stiltman Jr. Senior. Stiltman Senior. That's going to be a tongue twister. I just know it. This is the difficulties I have with learning new names. But Stiltman Senior. We are just under 3 minutes.
Corey, but
Whoa.
it's like Ashton taking the road course.
I saw that. Hi, Brian. Scared the shit out of me.
Sorry about that.
Why are you not racing this week?
Well, I thought I'd commentate with you. If you'll have me.
I'll have you. But just not in the way that people at home with dirty minds would think.
But definitely seems like Ashton's having his share of troubles tonight, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, we saw him before making a mistake coming off turn 2, and I was just saying, this is a very big chink in the armor. This is what we can expect to happen in this race.
I'm glad to see it because these fellas need a chance to be able to win this race tonight.
As we've got about 4 laps left here in practice, 2 minutes exactly. Time flies by at a track like this. As we saw Bruce Rivers getting around Siltman Sr. And the 23 car in the background going around, that's Jason McQuinn. And he made it all the way to the inside guardrail. But Bruce Rivers definitely looking pretty good as Kitzler. New guy just added today, Alex Kitzler. At least I hope that's the way it's spelt. Oh, said, sorry, pronounced. Words, Corey, words.
Definitely an interesting name there. I've never really quite seen. I wonder what nationality that name comes from.
I'm not completely sure, but I do know he was just added after practice started, so going to be interesting. And I'm pretty sure Diltman Sr. was also added at the same time. These guys are actually friends of Ashton Crowder. So it'll be interesting to see how they go throughout the race. As we have about a lap and a half worth of time left. 40 seconds left on the clock. 30-second lap times. You can do the math.
J.R. Hager actually was able to turn a really quick lap before we get into qualifying. He had a 29.8. That's pretty quick.
That is pretty damn quick. J.R. Hager up into P2. As we are just winding down practice here, getting ready for the qualifying to commence. So we'll have to wait and see how things will shake out there in qualifying. But Brian, you went out there and did some practice laps. How does the track feel to you?
Oh, the car is, it feels really good, except for on exit. You have to be really gentle on the throttle. I mean, it'll come around so easy, like you were seeing Ashton Crowder have those issues. I mean, this car is a little loose on exit, but, you know, if you can handle it, then you're going to be able to do well tonight. But I would not be surprised to see some self-spinners.
Well, we'll just have to hope that they keep it to a minimum, as now we see cars coming out onto track for qualifying. First car to hit the track will be J.R. Hager, and it looks like Kitzler is going to be joining him as the second car on track. So let's see what these drivers can do. We're going to go and ride on board with the driver of the 88, Mr. J.R. Hager. And see, oh, very loose coming out of turn 4. That's not a good way to start your lap. And around he goes. Pulls it up before the line. He'll reset and do that all over again. So someone else we're gonna ride on board then is the 72 of Ashton Crowder.
Whole strategy to spin out there before you hit the line. He must be trying to warm his tires up.
Yeah, but that's not the way it works, Brian. You know that.
Not how it works. No, I know that. I'm just making jokes.
But here we go for Ashton Crowder's first lap here. Sounds like he might have just tapped the wall. Could have been net code. Still pushing very hard here. Going through turns 3 and 4. Running it out wide. Diamonding a little bit on exit. Just down to that second lane. Still very sketchy on the exit though. And that is his one and only lap run and done for 29.656. So you guys rode on board for that lap, and that's the only lap he's going to do.
I'll take your word for it because I can't really see the guys qualifying considering I got into the practice myself.
Well, then you should probably back out and maybe join as a spectator.
I thought you couldn't do it because, like, you know, you have to. It would say you can't join in as another role. Have you ever had that happen to you?
You can do that now.
Oh, okay. Corey also does tutorials if anybody's interested.
I do not. Tell lies. You see Bruce Rivers on screen. He qualified 5th so far. Down to P6 as Chambliss, the man on screen, just popped himself up into 3rd. And around he goes on his second lap. So 3rd will be the best he can do for now. Another car on track is the 48 of Ryan Charles. He has not set a lap yet. Not sure whether he's on an out lap or not. Siltman Jr., I'm pretty sure, is on his first flying lap. Ryan Charles down to 9th with a 30.966. As we see David Mott Jr. coming out onto the track. The 4 of Siltman Sr. goes P4. 0.323 off the leading time. Ryan Charles on his second lap does improve, but still stays down in 10th. 1.254 off the lead. And looks like David Mott is not going to get a time out of his first lap, getting it loose coming off of turn 2. Let's see what he can do here on the second lap. As we see the 20 of Adam Walker coming out onto the track. The 10 should be on his flying lap now of David Mott Jr. And again, coming out turn 2, he's made a mistake, so he is not going to record a lap time in qualifying. Adam Walker now starting his first flying lap.
Definitely interesting to see if Ashton can gap the field like he did last time. I mean, in that Daytona road course, or the Charlotte Roval, that was insanity. So I'm curious to see if Is he going to be able to have a repeat like that, or is he going to mess up and give somebody else a chance to win this race?
Well, we will have to wait and see as the 7 of Adam Walker goes, the 20 of Adam Walker goes 7th on his first lap. 0.517 off the lead. See what he's got in store here for his second lap. Looks like he might be down on time compared to Russell Arnold. He drifts it coming out of turn 4 into the inside wall. That's a big hit. Guys, with that happening, there's no one else actually lined up to start their lap, so we're going to go to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we should be just about getting ready to send this grid off. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Alrighty guys, we are back. Time to show you guys the grid results here for the USANZ round number 11 here from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And on the pole is going to be Ashton Crowder, JR Hager P2, Brian Chambliss in third, David Siltman Sr. in P4. We've got Alex Kitzler in fifth. That name is going to be the end of me by the end of this race. I just know it. Russell Arnold in sixth. We got Adam Walker in seventh. Bruce Rivers in eighth. Jason McQuinn ninth. Alexander Russell P10. Ryan Charles will be from 11th. Timothy Swiggett in 12th. Ryan Britt not going to be gridding, but supposedly starting from 13th. That means Gregory Harris will be 14th. David Mott Jr. will actually be 13th. And Gareth Anderson will be from the 16th position. I guess you could definitely call that 15th. So guys, that is going to be our grid here for today's action. 21:49 strength of field out of the 16 people registered for this race. Obviously, the number 5 of Brian Britt doesn't count. I mean, he could count, but you know, we don't theorize that he can count to anything more than 4.
You'd be correct in that assumption. I have a South Carolina education, so if you ask me to say what position someone's in, I'm not going to be able to do it, Corey, just to let you know.
It's alright, that's why we only get you to call the top 4.
10-4. See, I don't even know what 10 means. What's that?
It's like a tan, different.
I can count that on my 12 fingers. Definitely, we got an interesting one lined up tonight. I mean, you got some pretty cars like J.R. Hager. That's a clean-looking car.
It really is, and you know, his cars definitely have been a bit of a standout. But it looks like we are just about getting ready to start racing here. As the pace car is in. And we're off and racing. And J.R. Hager actually getting a really good start there on the outside line. And takes the lead away from Ashton Crowder going into turns 1 and 2, Brian.
That's definitely surprising to see. That was a dominating move. He's got some balls, and I like to see it. That was really beautifully done.
Wait, you like to see his balls?
Okay, Corey.
But either way, what this means is that J.R. Hager has actually already gone out to about a half a second lead here over Ashton Crowder. 72 in the standings and the 27 on track. I don't know why he doesn't just take the 27. I don't think anyone has it. But anyway, the 4 of Siltman Sr. is sitting there in third at the moment, just in front of Brian Chambliss. Brian will not be wanting that to happen, as Siltman actually put in a little bit of pressure here on Ashton Crowder coming out of turn 4, Brian.
Definitely interesting to see Chambliss. He had the inside line there on the start. He was a big loser there. I don't know what exactly happened. You'd think the inside would be a good place to be, but apparently the high side is where the speed's at, seeing how J.R. Hager was able to make that move.
Well, we have seen in the past here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway the outside line being the preferred line, not just for starts but for racing as well. You see most of the cars running in the 2nd to 3rd lanes, diamonding down to that 2nd lane for the exit of the corner. So it's not too uncommon to maybe see that outside line holding the advantage, especially when you can pinch that inside car right down to the inside and give them a horrible run.
Yeah, they're not able to hold their momentum coming out of the corner.
But just look at J.R. Hager pulling away right now.
Almost a second lead right now to Ashton Crowder, which is insane. That just shows J.R. Hager, he's been practicing a lot here. They brought a good car to the track.
At the moment, the wind is about 15 to 17 kilometers in an hour, blowing it down the front straight. So they're getting a big run going into turn 1 with the wind assistance. track temp is 35 degrees Celsius, which would put it right up in the balmy 80 to 90 Fahrenheit range.
95, actually.
Oh, there you go. I was close.
You definitely were on it. For all those Americans out there, 95 degrees. Yeah. Definitely an interesting race between the 01 and the 34. He's giving some pressure on him.
And it looks like the 34 trying to get that move made. 34 obviously being Russell Arnold, but he's lost it out on the outside line there. We're just talking about how strong the outside line is, but at the moment, looks like the inside line just that little bit more preferable when it comes to making moves. Bruce Rivers as well, up into P7 at the moment, looking very strong there. Going to start putting some pressure onto Russell Arnold himself, as I saw one car spinning in the background.
Oh, no.
And that was the 10 of David Mott Jr. down to 15th.
Looks like he saved that car, though. I don't think he hit anything, so I think it's okay. Still got a lot of laps to go. It's a 150-lap race, so he's got a lot of time to be able to try to recover from that.
Indeed he does, as now the 95 Bruce Rivers trying to get that inside move on Russell Arnold. Both cars a little bit loose there on exit. Russell Arnold more so than Bruce, and Bruce now up into P6. This little man has been absolutely on the up and up in the past few weeks, Brian, and it is pretty awesome to see. He's even got his I rating back up to a 1.3K.
Yeah, that's definitely good for him. He definitely was having a lot of problems last week at the Roval. I mean, he pitted like 5 times, but he definitely was looking strong. Especially, I think he managed to get the outside pole in that race, if I'm not mistaken. But he's looking strong tonight.
It's good to see him having another good run here. But let's go back and check in on our leader now, the 88 of J.R. Hager, because Crowder has been slowly chipping away at that lead and has been closing him in inch by inch every lap.
He's definitely have. He's cut it down from, it was a second, now it's down to 0.3. He's going to make the pass in the next couple laps, I feel like. Definitely interesting to see how J.R. Hager handles that. Is he going to give him room? Is he going to fight him hard? And Dave Siltman Jr. or Senior's not far behind either. Oh, he's into the wall.
And that has just provided a little bit of a gap here for our top two. And it looks like Hager maybe trying to play a little bit of an antagonizer right now. Just blocking off Crowder's advances at the moment. He knows that if Crowder gets in front of him, that's pretty much going to be race done. So it'll be interesting to see how Hager can handle himself and try and save his tires at the same time while trying to hold off Mr. Crowder, as it looked like Siltman just again tapping that outside wall. Very easy to do around here with how loose the car gets on exit.
But one thing you don't want to do to Ashton Crowder is block him all over the track, because I mean, he's the type of guy. I mean, this is the type of track to where the bump and run is very prevalent.
Indeed it is, but to the inside now goes the 72, and loose. Around goes Hager right in front of the field. Everyone manages to miss him, and that is going to be the first caution of this race.
At least he didn't hit anything. I mean, I think his car's okay. His tires might have a little bit burned off there, but I think he's going to be all right. He's lucky, I'd say, that no one did get into him. Like you said, he spun right in the middle of the field there. It could have been very deadly for him.
So let's have a look at the replay again. This time, let's watch the Tokyo Drift in super slow-mo. So we're going to go even slower than that as the two cars pass underneath the camera position there in turn 1. You can see it broke out sideways on him very early in the corner. And then from there, it was all about trying to maintain the drift, which he just was not able to do.
Definitely was not Ashton's fault. That was all by himself.
I don't think anyone was blaming Ashton on that one, but as we now start seeing Hager getting into the proper Tokyo drift, getting a little bit of smoke coming off of those big Goodyear rear tires. And, to his credit, he actually held the drift for a decent amount of time.
Definitely. I mean, he managed to keep it off the wall too, so there's something to be said about that. It could have been way worse. He didn't incur any damage out of that. One car I want to point us to is Ryan Chaw. Look at that paint scheme. Beautiful paint scheme he's got on tonight.
See if we can get a different view of it. Ooh, all these camera angles are kind of shit while they're in the pit lane.
Especially the TV2 and TV3 and all them.
So we'll just wait for him to come back out. Here we go. Let's get a good view of his car now. And yeah, you're right. That car does look pretty damn fantastic.
I mean, I think he did it himself, so really commendable job. It's beautiful, I think.
Oh, it's 10 times better than anything that I could pull off. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can draw pretty well, but I've never really been good at painting cars.
I can't even draw, so there's that one. Anyway, our order right now is going to be Ashton Crowder, the 72 in the standings, the 27 on track. Then it's going to be the 4 of Dave Siltman Sr. Ryan Chambers will be lining up in 3rd with Alex Kitzler out of 4th. Alexander Russell will be 5th. Jason McQuinn, P6, although those guys are just swapped over there for some reason. Timothy Swiggett will be 7th. Adam Walker 8, Gregory Harris 9, Gareth Anderson 10, Ryan Chow will be 11th, Dave Mott Jr. will be out of 12th, Russell Arnold 13, Bruce Rivers 14, and JR Hager will be starting from the back of the bus, being the cause of the caution.
Curious to see if he's going to be able to recover it all, maybe be able to get back to the top 5 here. I mean, he's got plenty of race to do it if he's just patient.
And patience is not actually something that we know JR Hager for, so he's going to be trying to get through this field as quickly as he possibly can.
What happened to Bruce Rivers? I'm seeing he's actually in the 14th position. How did he fall back that far? Was it on purpose?
I think he had a very long pit stop. So not actually sure what transpired for him, but yeah, he had a long pit stop.
I'm just getting word that his pit crew is actually a bunch of mimes in slow motion, so that's why he's having such bad pit times right now.
Well, geez, can you imagine a mime trying to jack up one of these things? That must take a lot of mental energy.
They don't have equipment. They're just like faking it. They're making they can't make any noises. I'm sorry. I was gonna say they were making the noises to go like to for the power drills.
So he's possibly sitting there without any new fuel and with the tyres that he started with, which isn't so bad. I mean, it's only 17 laps into the race. Probably hasn't burnt them up that much, but it's still going to affect him here a little bit. I strongly suggest he should probably sack the mimes and get an actual pit crew.
I'm getting worded. Yep. I'm getting it in my ear right now. They actually have been fired. They're bringing in a different pit crew now.
They might need to bring in Jeff Gordon's pit crew because they've been beating Jimmy Johnson's crew all night. Now that's a fucking throwback.
Definitely curious to see how this pit crew, how that changes the game for him. Because I mean, having mimes change your tires is just never recommended. I don't understand who thought that was.
See, what makes it even worse is that they'd only put on the mime tires. So, that they don't actually have any physical tires to put onto it. They're mimes.
They gave him an invisible bottle of water, too, so he's definitely not hydrated right now.
So it's going to be a tough race here for Bruce Rivers, but the pace car is going to be making his way back down to the pit lane right now. And we are going to take the restart here of this race. Ashton Crowder on the pole. And he's off and racing. Gets a much better jump than the man in second this time. And it is going to be Crowder and Siltman Sr. But there's still a battle raging on here for third between the 25 of Chambliss and the 01 of Kitzler. Let's see what these guys can do. Kitzler driving in very deep on the outside, trying to hold it. And I dare say that Chambliss has the preferred line. Oh, there's contact. Big contact there, and that has checked up the entire field, allowed the top two to get away. Kitzler maintains third, and that is going to drop Chambliss down to fifth. I'm not sure whether there was a little bit of netcode at play there or not, but it definitely looked like that was a possibility. But now Chambliss trying to get up the inside of McQuinn to take over fourth again, which he does very easily. He's going to try and make that march towards third place again, Brian.
He's definitely showing his speed to be able to work his way right back up to Kitzler again. And Ashton and Dave are having quite a good battle too. I mean, he's been right up on his butt the whole time.
We'll
definitely that Siltman speed tonight.
We'll have to keep an eye on that battle as we see the developments here for the battle for third, because sideways coming off a turn 4 a little bit there was the 25 of Chambliss, and McQuinn actually getting a little bit of a run on him coming out of turn 4.
McQuinn, that maybe he tires up here.
He possibly did, but McQuinn definitely looking strong at the moment. Had a little bit of a look on the inside there in 1 and 2. Not going to do anything about it. Deep into 3 goes Chambliss. And Chambliss and Kitzler have now just caught up to the back of Siltman.
Interesting to see. That's pretty incredible, as Kyle Petty would say.
And you pulled that off so very well.
I do appreciate it. I'm surprised that they were actually able to catch them. That just shows maybe Ashton and Siltman are trying to save their tires a little bit, and these other guys are throwing caution to the wind, maybe thinking there is going to be a caution.
Well, it is definitely a very real possibility, as I can actually see Ryan Chow right out at the back of the field by himself, so he possibly had a little bit of a mistake somewhere in the run. As to the inside of the 01 goes the 25, and similarly for the lead, almost a move there by Siltman. Very close to contacting the left rear of Crowder going through 1 and 2. But Chambliss is clean and clear in third now, and he is open to start attacking again. As just behind them, there is a battle for fifth raging with McQuinn and Russell. And I think McQuinn might have made a mistake because he is dropping back big time now, Brian.
Definitely not something J.R. Hager wants to see. Them too wide right in front of him, and he feels. I think he's got a lot of speed here, and he's stuck right behind them guys.
Indeed, he is, and he's been making quite the incredible recovery after being the cause of that caution. Got David Mott Jr. just in front of him. We saw David before make a mistake coming out of turn 2 and drop all the way down to the back of the pack. But he's starting to pick up the pace here, as he is going to try and take fourth place away from Kitzler now. Can he do it going into 3? It's going to be a battle of the big breakers, and that is going to be David Mott Jr. now up into 4th, and J.R. Hager back into 5th now. I told you he was going to be aggressive with the way he was coming back through the field, and apparently I was wrong, because he let David do all the aggressive work and he just rode in the coattails.
Yeah, he didn't seem like he's on his bumper, but he wasn't really trying to force the issue. He was just gonna, happy to ride with him there. But I think he's gonna try to take him on the high side coming into this next corner, it looks like.
And at the same time, we also have a battle for second. Chambliss on the inside of Siltman. So we're trying to watch both battles at the same time. Oh, a little bit loose was J.R. Hager there coming out of 4. So he's going to drop back into 5th. As I find my mouse.
Got second.
Chambliss was scored as second at the end of the last lap. He had his nose ahead, but the move is still not completely made yet. There's still a little bit of overlap. Now there's not, and that's going to be Chambliss up into second, with Siltman down to 3rd.
Definitely, and Siltman's got a lot of people on his rear end that could easily pass him here. I think he's going to be under fire here shortly, especially from J.R. Hager coming through and David Mott.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see how these battles will transpire, but it also looks like Crowder might have started to burn the wick a little bit here. He's starting to gap Chambliss, and not by a small margin either. He gained 0.3 going in through turns 1 and 2.
Well, we got contact. J.R. Hager's coming around, but oh, he saves it.
That was actually a nice little save. He's been learning from the Tokyo drift action, and he's been able to maintain the drift and make sure he doesn't lose too many positions from it, which that was great if you're in Tokyo, not so great if you're in America doing NASCAR things.
Definitely not the fastest way around the track drifting. It looks cool, but it's definitely not the fastest way. I'm surprised that he didn't clean David Mott Jr. out with that move, because I mean he got up on his rear end, contacted that left rear quarter panel. Definitely could have caused some bad times for David Mott Jr., but it didn't. So that was very commendable that J.R. Hager was able to do that, but not wreck him.
And it's definitely not an easy thing to do, hit someone in the rear and not wreck them, but somehow he pulled it off. That might speak more to Mott Jr. than it does Hager a little bit, though.
Yeah, because definitely that car did not move, really. I mean, David Mott Jr., you didn't really see any kind of conditions from that contact from him, so definitely commendable for him, too, to be under pressure like that and stay calm and collected and not spin yourself on his front end.
But Chambliss hasn't exactly pulled away from Siltman here.
I would say Chambliss is burnt up trying to pass all these guys, so I feel like Siltman's probably he's been taking better care of his tires. I think he's gonna be able to get right back around him again.
Well, we also have to think, Chambliss was involved in that little bit of a skirmish earlier. Would have taken a little bit of the life out of these tires. You can see Siltman there, just trying to look for a way around. Actually broke really early there going into 3. Probably just forgot where his braking marker was there for a second. But again, Crowder starting to pull away from these guys a little bit here in 2nd and 3rd. Trying to show a little bit of the dominance that we saw last week at the Roval.
Yeah, he definitely is showing his dominance tonight. I don't think that he's going to be able to do exactly what he was able to do at the Roval. I mean, if anybody watched that stream, he was able to put everyone a lap down, and in pretty much 6th and 7th, I believe, position behind were actually 2 laps down. I doubt he's going to be able to do that tonight. This is an oval. It's a lot more difficult, I'd say, to do that.
Indeed it is, because there's not as many opportunities for people to get things wrong.
Well, as we've seen tonight, there is definitely the opportunity for people to get it wrong, but there's no cautions at the Roval, so that definitely plays a factor into it too.
Yeah, that does play a very big factor into it. But at the moment, he is still pulling away. He's got 2 seconds over Chambliss at the moment. We'll have to wait and see how that's going to transpire for the rest of this race. He's just been consistently faster here and there. 1/10, 3/10, and 1/10 on the last 3 laps. So it's definitely up in the air on how things are going to transpire. And for all we know,
he's definitely going to put some people a lap down for sure, like Ryan Shaw, who's almost 12 seconds behind him. I mean, if it keeps going green like this, there's definitely going to be some people that are going to be going a lap down here.
But in saying that, for all we know, Crowder could make a mistake himself. We did see him make a mistake in practice, and not so much in qualifying, but definitely in practice. And, it doesn't take much for that to happen in the race. It just takes one little moment of lapse of thought to have things go a little bit wrong.
Sure, but I mean, he was probably just pushing it in practice to kind of see exactly what the car would do. And I mean, you don't get to the Coke level, whenever you don't have a lapse in judgment when you're in the Coke level. So I think that he's going to be pretty steadfast when it comes to the race. Hopefully, for his sake, for these other guys' sake, definitely want them to be able to have a chance also.
As now we got a move on for 2nd. Right down to the inside is Silman, and right out to the outside was Chambliss. Chambliss actually going super wide there. And that was an easy change for position.
I think Siltman was just being patient, like riding behind him, content to ride behind him, but as soon as Chambliss makes a mistake, he capitalizes on it. So definitely a good move by Siltman to be patient like that.
So let's go back in the pack a little bit here and have a look at what's going on in the mid-packs. We're focused on Gareth Anderson, the league owner and operator, sitting in 12th. And you can see there is quite a few cars in this little group being led by Bruce Rivers. A little bit of gap from Bruce to Alex Kitzler.
Changes position there between the fourth place of David Mott with J.R. Hager, who is now in fourth place, so made that pass easily. And Alexander Russell's into the wall.
There's a lot going on this little track. A little track, but it's actually quite a long track when you really think about it. But we do run the low downforce, high horsepower package here. But these straightaways, they're a lot longer than what they actually seem, Brian.
Well, I mean, it's definitely reminiscent of, a lot of people call this a bigger Martinsville because of the shape of the track. You know, it definitely is still a long track, but like you said, the turns are a lot slower. They're long turns, so definitely a kind of an intermediate track, I'd say. I wouldn't even really say it's a short track, but it definitely has a lot of short track feel to it.
As now we got Russell Arnold trying to make a move around the outside of Bruce Rivers. This is for the 10th position. Bruce on the inside, Russell Arnold on the outside. Let's see who's going to pull it off here. And it looks like Bruce is actually going to maintain his 10th position here, but Russell Arnold looking very strong there on the outside in that 34 car, Brian.
He definitely is, but look at Gareth Anderson's in the mix back here too. He's waiting on these guys to make a mistake so he can capitalize on it, it seems like, but definitely Russell Arnold was able to get a good roll on the high side. And Gareth Anderson seems like he's about to try to take over Bruce Rivers' position.
He's not going to quite get it this time as Bruce wags his tail at him coming out of turn 2. Says, eat that fucking tail feather. But
that's your one for the night.
Oh, I've already used up the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4, so this is probably about the 10th.
Arnold's having he's definitely looking like a pretty stable car out there tonight, for sure. Able to gap Bruce Rivers after passing him on the high side like that.
Looks like something might have happened just up ahead a little bit as well. Not sure who it was.
Jason L. McQuinn had a little bit of a moment there.
That might have been what I saw. For a very sideways car and very wide on track looking car.
No, he had that moment. He's still all over Alex Russell's back bumper. He's trying to take him on the inside right now.
And he pulls back in behind him, thinking better of it for the moment. Hopefully he doesn't think better of it for too much longer, because we want to see some action.
Oh yeah, for sure. Make this race interesting. Put it on a show for the fans here. I like that Yingling car that Jason McQuinn is running. I mean, I've always been a big fan of Yingling. Anytime I've went to go get some beer, usually that's what it is.
Well, I can't say I have ever had it, because I think that's pretty much an American beer. Oh, in the background, someone's just gone around. And I think that might have been our intrepid leader, the 00 Gareth Anderson. And it looks like he even made it to the guardrail coming out of turn 2.
A little bit of contact for him, but I think it still looks pretty clean on his front end, surprisingly. And the caution comes out. I don't think it would have came out if he hadn't spun his tires and came back on the track and stopped again. I don't know. But definitely fortunate for him. Spin gate, guys, spin gate.
I think the only reason that he hit the brakes there was just so he wouldn't spin out on track in front of Ashton. But this will provide a little bit of a reprieve for us. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will see how things shape up after the end of the pit stop cycle. So make sure you guys stay tuned. And we are back. You caught us while we were in the middle of talking about beer, because why not? But Gareth Anderson still just plodding around behind the pace car. I'm surprised he actually hasn't been given a wave around, although that was probably because he was the cause of the caution. That's why iRacing hasn't waved him. So he'll get the wave around on the one to go. The pit stop cycle has just completed. So let's go and see how the order will be as everyone's coming out of the pits. Going to be Ashton Crowder, of course, on the pole with Brian Chambliss out of P2, surprisingly. J.R. Hager will be third. David Mott Jr. in fourth. Alexander Russell in fifth. Siltman dropped all the way down to P6 as Ashton Crowder comes back into the pits again, possibly to go to the back to have a little bit of fun here, Brian.
I would say so. I mean, I was wondering about that. I was like, wow, he just came into the pits again. But we've seen him do this before because he's confident in his abilities. I mean, who can blame him? He's wanting to have a good time here.
That is exactly right, and that's why we love him. It looks like he's also getting some fresh tyres as well. So the updated order will now be Chambliss, Hager, Mott, Russell, Siltman, McQuinn, Swiggett, Arnold, Rivers, and Harris, with Adam Walker, Ryan Chow, Ashton Crowder, and Alex Kitzler and Gareth Anderson both a lap down. So we could have a little bit of a battle for the lucky dog position here forming at some point. And I didn't even realize. Yeah, I didn't even realize that he went a lap down.
I don't know. He was looking really strong during the race. I'm curious to see what happened to him. I really didn't see an issue with him.
Well, it looks like he's coming back down the pit lane again. So it might just be one of those things that we'll never know.
I don't want to jump to conclusions, but maybe he hopped down pit road, and he didn't catch the pack before he did, so it could have caused him to go a lap down.
Well, that is very possible, but we're not people who like to delve into conspiracy theories much.
Speak for yourself.
We do like it, the odd conspiracy theory, let's be real.
For sure, I mean. Definitely want to take the time out right now, since we're under caution right now, to shout out Rocket Setups. If you're not in one, you're chasing one. You go to rocketsetup.com to be able to go to rocketsetup.com to be able to get the rocket set up now. We do the Cup cars, B car, the C car. They do a lot of the dirt racing, super late models, so definitely check them out.
And don't forget, we have seen what those setups can do. The Michigan race that we ran a few weeks ago was run with their setups, and my God, wasn't that a fantastic race.
For sure. Those cars are usually, they handle really well. Usually the really fast cars are on the loose side. But those cars are fast while still being neutral. So definitely for the guy who has problems driving some of those looser cars, but, wants to be competitive, they'll help you.
As here we go now, we got half lap till we go back to green. Got 52 laps in the books. It'll be 53, lap 53 when we get going again here, which means 98 laps left in this race. There's some quick maths. The pace car is in, and we're off and racing again. And what a jump by Brian Chambliss on the restart.
Definitely saw a lot of checking up back, further in the field. Some guys weren't able to get as good a restart.
But have a look at JR Hager here. He is in second, and he is absolutely looming on the back of the 25 car at the moment.
He's not safe himself when he's got David Mott Jr. still lurking
Oh,
back
sideways.
there also.
Sideways went Hager coming out of turn 4. Managed to hold on to it, but he lost a little bit of time there to Chambliss. As we said, it looks cool, but it's not fast. And Siltman Sr. also sitting there in the 4th position, just behind David Mott. So things could start getting interesting here very shortly with all these fast guys starting to get towards the front. And Crowder.
Hager's about to take the spot. He's going to take the lead here. He's got him cleared. He definitely took it.
Oh, yeah, he definitely took it. Now he's starting to run away with it. Siltman also trying to make a move for 3rd, and he gets that done going into turn 1 over Mott.
And he's right there on Chambliss's back door now. I think he's going to be battling him for the 2nd spot.
He definitely has the run coming out of turn 2, and in fact, he's just about got him cleared going into 3, and possibly going to try and make a run for the lead at the same time, Brian.
Getting close to that left rear. Yeah, he kicked sideways a little bit. Oh, this is definitely, they're putting on a show for us tonight.
See, they heard us talking shit about him just before the caution came out, so this is what they're doing to make up for it. As now the 10 of... Oh! Around goes Siltman.
He didn't really get any damage on that car, so I think he's still going to be able to be competitive, but definitely some aggressive moves by Siltman. And on JR Hager, no less, who is usually known for his aggressive moves.
So let's go back and have a look at the replay, see what unfolded there for Siltman. Going into turn 2. And did he make contact with Hager? I'm not going to tell from this camera angle. Oh, we can tell from this one, and yes, contact was made. Looks like a little bit of a racing incident. Hager was coming down, Siltman was coming up.
Looks a little bit of indicative of how Hager was all over. I can't remember the exact car he was all over, but it looks where he spun himself kind of. David Mott Jr., I think it was?
Yes, it was indeed.
Definitely kind of similar to what happened there, but Siltman did it himself, so I guess a lot of these guys are getting tight underneath other cars, and like you said, JR Hager may have came down a little bit, must have just been a racing incident. Definitely doesn't seem like it hurt either car very much.
All right, well, while we got everyone coming into the pits, we're going to go to another quick commercial break. When we come back, we will be getting ready to set the field to get ready to go back to green, so make sure you guys stay tuned.
Welcome back to the broadcast. We appreciate you guys joining in tonight. Definitely going to be some more interesting racing. A lot of fantastic driving tonight. They've been putting on a show for us. Definitely have been really impressed with some of the drives these guys have put on. JR Hager, usually I characterize him as a kind of a dangerous driver, but he's been showing his worth tonight. He's been breaking loose and spinning out almost, but I think he's learning from his stuff. It's definitely been interesting to watch. And Bruce Rivers also been showing up a little bit here tonight also. Definitely interesting to see. David Mott Jr., who was fighting with J.R. Hager earlier in the race, somehow was able to get that. No, I'm sorry. I'm mistaken. I'm not looking at the updated results here. J.R. Hager is going to be in third here. Bruce Rivers in the lead. Wonder if he's going to be able to keep that lead. I'm not exactly sure, considering he's usually known for being kind of a dangerous driver himself. Throws caution to the wind and just drives. You know, I think that's just a product of youth. Brian Chambliss has been having a good race tonight too, even though he's been a little bit throwing caution to the wind himself, having to, you know, burning his tires up trying to get positions and then falling off when Siltman maybe catches them. But looks like Siltman, Dave Siltman Sr. is going to be starting in the back of the field, while we got Ashton Crowder is going to be an ace. So definitely interesting to see who's going to come out on top. And one name we haven't spoke about a lot tonight is Gregory Harris. He has not really showed himself up in the top 5 yet tonight, but we know that he has the potential to be able to do that. He's been improving a lot here lately, and I just feel like he has a lot of speed, and I feel maybe he'll show up tonight, maybe later in the race. I mean, it could be a good strategy to try to hold it back here. I mean, they still got a little more than 100 laps, 90 laps to go here, so definitely curious to see what's going to happen. As Brian Chambliss breaks it down pit road, he's going to try to take a trip to the back here. Curious at these strategies that these guys are having. I'm definitely curious to see why they're doing that. Maybe they think that there's going to be some more wrecks here. I mean, definitely could be, considering how a lot of these guys have been getting loose and spinning out or spinning themselves out on other people.
Another theory, Brian, is they could be fueling to the end of the race, which is another little interesting aspect that we probably haven't thought about the possibility of.
Definitely not. Fuel mileage. I mean, definitely could be playing a big factor into why these guys are doing this.
But we are going to see Bruce Rivers coming off the pole here for the restart. Have to just wait and see how it's going to happen.
Do you think that maybe he stayed out and didn't take tires, and that's how he got that lead?
Not completely sure. It's possible. But we'll have to wait and see how his performance is. As we will see the pace car making his way to the pits now. And we're off and racing. Bruce waited a long time there before he started to go. But he does have the lead going into turn 1 at the moment. Hager right all over his bumper, pushing him through the corner. And around goes Hager.
He saved it. He saves it. What a save.
How did he save that? That's incredible.
Was it? All right, Kyle Petty, that was incredible.
Hey, I don't have the accent for that. That's all you, brother.
Incredible save. Alexander Russell managed to get around him, though, but he's still in the 3rd spot.
Bruce Rivers out in the lead still, so he might have gotten tyres, but maybe only 2, depending on how the tyre wear was. Bruce Rivers looking the goods right now, Brian.
He definitely is. He's putting a little, about a 3-4 car length gap on Alexander Russell here. He's looking really strong out there. I'm sorry, J.R. Hager. J.R. Hager took the position from Alexander Russell. And look at Russell Arnold working his way up into he's the top 4 right now. And Timothy Twiggle, we haven't talked about him tonight either. He's up in the top 5. But Ashton Crowder's lurking behind him, so I definitely see that Ashton's going to start making some passes here and get his way back to the front again. Siltman's not far behind Ashton either, so definitely curious to see that.
Let's see what J.R. Hager will do this time to the back of Bruce Rivers. We've seen him pile drive him going through 1 and 2 laps. Oh! He just wrecked him!
We'll have to go back and watch that to conclude exactly what happened there, but it looks like J.R. Hager cleaned his clock.
That looked very intentional. I'm not sure.
It was intentional. They're wrecking after the wreck. He comes in and hits him again. And he hits him again a 3rd time. They're definitely having some issues out here tonight. A lot of short track anger going on. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody was parked because of that.
Indeed not.
definitely not very sportsmanlike conduct. I mean, I don't see what Bruce did to JR. He didn't really do anything, I don't think, to deserve any of that.
But that was definitely no good at all, and that has actually put Bruce Rivers a lap down now for no good reason at all.
I mean, I just don't understand what the mentality was there. JR has been running a really patient race tonight, and that was definitely uncalled for. Definitely going to be sending him down to the hauler tonight, I'm sure.
Let's just have a look at that again in slow-mo once I get back onto the right scene.
Hit him 3 separate times. I mean, I understand, maybe accidentally hitting him initially, but that was just really cementing it into my mind that was on purpose.
Now, we did miss a little bit of the intentional contact after the crash, so we'll have to wait and see what happened there in this replay.
Definitely be good for the viewers to see that, because that was so blatant.
But yeah, that's so bad, and that's so demoralizing for young Bruce Rivers, who has been on a bit of a hot streak lately, and he wasn't slow at the front there. He was holding his own quite nicely.
He definitely was. I mean, JR could have definitely been patient and found another way around him if he felt like he was faster than him, but, it is what it is. Things like that happen. You get the short track tempers going. I mean, it definitely happens.
All right, so we're going to go to a commercial break while we see the replay of the shenanigans after the crash. And when we come back, we're going to try and make sense of everything. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Now, all right, guys, we are back, and apparently I didn't go back to live yet, so let's go back to live and click on our leader, who is going to be the 42 of Alexander Russell. Russell Arnold right behind him, just to make things extra confusing. Gregory Harris is up into third. Chambliss is back in fourth. Adam Walker fifth. Ryan Charles will be P6. Axton Crowder will be 7th, McQuinn 8th, Alex Kitzler will be 9th, David Mott Jr. in 10th, Dave Siltman Sr. in 11th, Gareth Anderson will be out of 12th with Swiggett in 13th, and Hager and Bruce Rivers are both now 2 laps down, and they're both in the pits, so not sure what is going to be transpiring after what we saw, and I don't have the privilege of listening into the driver's channel because I can imagine some of the language that would be flying after that, and I don't want to subject you guys watching at home to that one.
And it seems like both JR and Bruce are just sitting in the pits, so I definitely don't think, I think both of their races are over tonight.
Well, see, it might not have been so bad for Bruce, but that second and third hit from Hager was directly on the nose of his car. I would imagine that he would have a lot of engine damage out of that.
Definitely, probably did. But as they're going
As the
green
pace
here,
car is in, and Alexander Russell starting on the outside of the lane choice takes the very early lead. And Ryan Chambliss actually going from 4th to just about 2nd, trying to hang around the outside of Russell Arnold at the moment.
a smart call by Alexander Russell. That was genius. The high side's been working for these guys all night long, so definitely interesting call to see, and it played out good for him.
And it looks like Chambliss unable to make the move for 2nd, and now he's going to be under pressure from Adam Walker here, as they're just about to go 3 wide. Not going to do it this time, as we saw Crowder there on the inside. Crowder now, as the 20 got loose in the middle of 1 and 2, has taken 4th, and he is right up the chuff of the 25 of Chambliss. As you know, all the differing strategies that are going on right now, people with fresh tyres, people without fresh tyres, is starting to play out. You see quite a bit of a gaggle back there for about the 8th position, as the top 4 are pulling away.
Ashton Crowder's all over the back. He's going to catch Chambliss, it looks like here, but definitely a lot of 2 wide action in the back of the pack. I think that'd be more interesting to watch for sure, as Dave Siltman, Mott, they all fight, and Jason Quinn seems to be leading that backpack there.
And there is actually a battle going on for McQuinn with Adam Walker on his outside. Siltman trying to look for a way through as well, trying to find out which of these 2 drivers ahead of him has the pace so he can follow them through, as Crowder has just made his way into 3rd.
J.R. Hager's back on the track.
And there's also a battle for the lead between the 2 Russells, Alexander Russell and Russell Arnold. At the moment, it's still Alexander Russell, but Russell Arnold trying to look to the inside, and then they're both going to have to contend with Ashton Crowder just behind them. Crowder sitting there in 3rd, just waiting for one of these 2 ahead of him to make a mistake so he can capitalize on both of them. But at the moment, neither of them really seem to have the advantage, as there's just about contact there in turn 4. The 42 of Alexander Russell got a little bit loose. This is going to be what Russell Arnold needed, as we have now just hit halfway. 75 down, 75 to go. And Russell Arnold now loose out of 2. And he is going to lose 2 positions from that. Crowder now into 2nd. Chambliss 3rd. Alexander Russell still with the lead, but here comes Crowder.
That was a good save by, definitely a good save from Russell Arnold. He kept his car. He definitely lost some spots there, but he's still in the top 4 here.
Exactly, and that's probably the best thing that he could have done there, as it looks like now the top 4 are going to calm down here a little bit, as I see a loose car in the background. I'm pretty sure that was Gregory Harris. Managed to maintain position there though. But Chambliss might make a move here on Russell. And then Arnold might try and resume that battle that himself and Russell were having before.
Gareth Anderson made a pass on Ryan Shaw just now, and he's looking on Gregory Harris. Seems like Gregory didn't bring the right car tonight.
And he probably brought his super speedway car thinking that it was going to be worth it, but it was not, as J.R. Hager a lap down, making a very aggressive cut across the nose of Ryan Charles.
Definitely some aggressive driving from J.R. Hager tonight, which he is 7 laps down. Why is he driving like that?
Because he can. To the inside of Gareth Anderson goes J.R. Hager, and almost Gregory Harris as well.
Almost.
As we got 1 spun car there on the inside. I'm pretty sure that was the 23 of McQuinn. And it was, as he reverses back out onto the track. No caution because there's no one around him.
Looks like he's going to be able to get back going here. I think he's not going to lose a lap, but he's definitely going to hurt him. He might lose a lap sooner than later for sure.
And we also have a battle for 2nd on the track. Both cars getting a little bit loose in turn 2, but Chambliss was more loose than Russell. And that is going to put a stent in the run that Chambliss had there while trying to battle for second.
Russell's been having a great race tonight. I mean, he's had a little bit of issues, not really had anything that hurt his car at all, but he's almost been involved in quite a number of wrecks. But he skated through. Definitely doing some real work tonight. We haven't talked a lot about him tonight, so definitely proud to see this.
That's right, and they've been doing a pretty damn good job so far. I mean, we've only had 4 cautions as well, which, you know, is nothing for a track like this. And they don't call it a bigger Martinsville for nothing, right?
Sure, but I'm definitely surprised to see that the wrecks that we've seen really haven't damaged a lot of cars. Usually the wrecks we've seen really, you know, haven't been any one big wrecks or anything like that. And even if they do wreck, it's not really that much damaging, except for the exception of J.R. Hager and Bruce Rivers' wreck.
Yeah, but let's not talk about that one anymore, because, yeah.
Yeah.
But Siltman in the 4 trying to look for a way around Russell Arnold now for the 4th position. So he lost a little bit of time there coming off of turn 4. And I'm wondering how many more times I can say 4 before I give up on this line of sentencing.
English, Corey.
Hey, that was English, thank you very much.
Definitely interesting to see if this Dave Siltman Sr. will maybe be able to get to that Russell Arnold's back bumper there. I mean, he's been showing some speed all night. I'm just wondering where it's going, because I mean, he was in the top 3 earlier, and he's not doing as great right now.
Well, it's just saying that as soon as I started to point out that he was doing fairly all right there, he started to drop back a little bit. He is starting to fight back towards Russell Arnold now. And to the outside of Russell Arnold he will go. Not going to quite get the run coming off the corner, but he is going to keep his nose in there. That's going to give him the advantage. The momentum off the corner, if you're running the high side, is greater than if you're running the inside. And that's going to be Siltman now up into 4th in the 4 car. And just behind him, David Mott goes around. Manages to keep it off the inside wall just. Comes back out onto track, no caution, because he managed to keep it going the entire time.
The bold strategy. I wonder if that's going to pay off for him. I mean, you know, he's cooling his tires off in the grass, so hopefully that pays off.
I definitely would have brought out a caution, but that's just me. As we're continuing to look at our 2nd and 3rd place drivers here, we can see a little bit more going on just behind. And it seems that things have just calmed down a little bit here. J.R. Hager is still flying his way through the field a little bit, though.
He almost spins. He saves it and goes down pit road. I'm sure he's going to get a speeding penalty for that.
He probably will. You can see him making his way into the pit lane now. Like he's getting a fresh set of tires before he comes out again. Now we're still looking at our... iRacing decided they didn't want to look at that anymore. Looking at our 4th place driver, the 4 of Dave Siltman Sr. And he has just caught up to Chambliss ever so slightly. Kind of in this little bit of an area of where he's not really gaining time, but he's not really losing it either.
Now Alexander Russell's in the 2nd spot. 5 seconds to the Ashton Crowder, who's in the lead. So I know Alexander Russell and Ashton Crowder are pretty good friends, so I wonder if Alex is going to be trying everything he can to try to catch him.
I dare say he probably will. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. Because Crowder is just showing so much pace right now.
one thing I always mention is those fast guys, like, they're able to still save their tires while still being fast, which is very impressive. Because, I mean, it doesn't really, it goes against intuition, really, whenever you're out here driving around. Usually you would think, oh, if I go a little slower, I'll actually be conserving my tires, but that's not the truth. It's usually about if you don't overdrive your car, and, you know, you're just right on the edge there, and it's all about your smooth input. So I think Ashton just knows how to be as smooth as he possibly can.
Indeed he does, and he puts a lot of practice into every race he does, and he's definitely looking the goods right now. He's actually almost catching up to the 23 car of McQueen, and probably going to put him a lap down here shortly. I dare say that won't be the last car that he puts a lap down if we go green the rest of the way.
Definitely interesting to see, because Jason McQueen was looking really strong earlier in the race, and so is David Mott Jr. He was looking really strong, and both of them are holding the last positions on the lead lap. So, and Gregory Harris just got passed by David Mott Jr. I spoke too soon.
Also out on the track will come the 95 car of Bruce Rivers, making a return after the contact that we had with J.R. Hager. And also a change of position for third, as Siltman Sr. is now trying to make his way around the inside of Brian Chambliss. Siltman actually got a little bit of rear damage there.
Got it done. He definitely does have some rear damage, but because of the low downforce package here, I don't think your spoiler is going to make that much of a difference.
I don't think it will either, just because this isn't really a downforce heavy track to begin with. As I see the 10 car on the back straight going slow again. I think he might have lost it off turn 2 again. So that's going to put him in an area of risking going a lap down. We continue to look at second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. This is the closest thing we have to a battle pack on the track, as the 4 of Siltman starting to look for a way around Russell right now. I think he was saving his tyres while he was sitting there behind Chambliss. So he might have better quality tyres as he goes to the inside of Russell now. Can he pull off the move and get P2?
And Alex Kitzler is starting to show back up too. He's in 6th position. And, oh, we have a little bit of contact with the wall in front. Alexander Russell's having some problems here.
And that is actually going to allow Chambliss to try and challenge for third. A little bit of contact there between Chambliss and Russell. And here comes Arnold to the inside of Chambliss.
I can guarantee you Chambliss's hands out the window. He's upset, I'm sure.
I imagine he would be, but that was all his own mistake. He went a little bit too deep there into 3. As I just saw a couple of cars stopped on the back straight. There was no caution though. 24 and the 95. The 95 letting everyone go. Not sure what the go was there with Gregory Harris in the 24, but he has pulled the eject button and gone to the pits.
Sad to see, because he was looking so strong last week in his top 4 position finish.
And he was so happy with that too. He wanted to carry that momentum into this week, but unfortunately not to be this time, as we still have a battle raging on here for 4th between Chambliss and Russell Arnold. Russell hasn't given it up since Chambliss fell into his clutches earlier. Now around the outside of Arnold will go Kitzler.
The front end of Kitzler's car, he's got some front end damage on that car, so it's impressive to see he's got this kind of speed right now. But then I guess you can't say that, because J.R. Hager didn't have a front end at all and was still making some time running through the field.
Yeah, Hager's probably running Synos as well, so that's where he gets his advantage.
Pit are sponsored by Monster Energy. They pour it directly into the tank.
Well, they very well could be, as we see him making his way through turns 3 and 4 behind Chambliss here. Chambliss just hasn't really been showing up like I thought he would be. He's not really showing too much pace here.
Oh, he's hit the wall a little bit.
Indeed he did. As
I feel
there
like
is
maybe
another interesting development as well. The 95 and the 88 are near each other on the track. And Bruce Rivers gets around Hager very nicely on the inside. Drag race down the front straight. Hager has the advantage with fresh tyres. He just came into the pits again. And he's just looking to knock out fastest lap after fastest lap.
I'm curious to see how the modified division finishes tonight.
Well, at the moment, JR Hager is in the lead of the modified division by about 7 laps.
Siltman's up to second now. While Alexander Russell's battling with Brian Chambliss, who spins out into the grass.
And that is going to be a big downer there for the 25 car as the 10 of Mott Jr. goes into the pits. Going for a green flag stop. And the 72 of Ashton Crowder has put McQuinn a lap down. So lots of things going on here. Let's go back up to the battle for third now between Kitzler and Russell. Or should I say Kitzler and the Russells. Of which
David Mott Jr. has put his car into the hauler now. It seems like they're packing up and going on to the next track.
Well, that is unfortunate to see. Mott had a lot of pace, and it's sad to see him go. But one thing that I am a little bit worried about right now is JR Hager jumping himself up into this battle for second through fourth, inserting himself in there with these fresh tyres. This could spell disaster for some of these guys if he gets a mistake.
For sure, I just don't understand what his mindset is being 16 laps down and trying to drive through this field like that. I don't think you're going to be able to make up those laps, but I guess valiant effort to him.
And contrary to my belief, he got around them quite nicely actually, so not much loss there for anyone. As Kitzler is going to continue trying to get up to the back of Alexander Russell here, or trying not to let Russell Arnold get towards him. That's the battle of Kitzler and the two Russells. And just for context, ladies and gentlemen, the 72 of Ashton Crowder has just about got a half a lap lead over second place. Just let that sink in.
We might see him put a lap on everybody tonight. It seems like it's definitely in the cards if they keep going green like they are.
I don't think we'll see a full pack lap down, but we'll definitely see him starting to get in towards some of these guys towards the back.
Chambliss might find himself a lap down, considering what the mistake he made driving to the grass like that. So definitely curious to see if he's going to be able to, if a caution comes out and Chambliss is able to get back into this fight. The laps are ticking down, so I'm assuming some people are going to have to do some green flag pit stops at some point. They may be good on gas. They very well could be good on gas. This is one of those tracks where you can turn a lot of laps on a tank of fuel, but really the premium is going to be you change tire.
Well, see, that will be the $1 million question. I think you'd be silly to not take tires if you're coming in for fuel, because it's just, you know, you want that grip. You want to be able to handle having that grip.
These guys might be able to make it on fuel, but you know, is it worth it just to come in just for those tires? I think it would be, because the lap times you would be hitting would be way faster, considering right now Ashton Crowder is hitting a 31.5, and in the start of this race he was hitting 29s.
And one thing we didn't talk about was Kitzler has gotten around Alexander Russell now. Now it's just a battle of the two Russells there for the fourth position.
Russell Arnold has been showing a lot of strength all night. He's had a couple issues, but he definitely hasn't had enough of an issue to where it's cost him very much. He's still in this game.
Well, we did just previously see Alexander Russell experimenting with some demonic portals, maybe trying to get a little bit of an attire advantage out of it. It doesn't seem to be working for him as Russell Arnold comes up on the inside and makes that move stick.
Definitely a good move by him. Still, it looks like Alexander Russell's still going to be, he's going to put his nose on the outside there a little bit, but I don't think it's going to work. It's definitely not working.
No, it definitely didn't work that time. In fact, it hindered him more than anything. A little bit of an air gap starting to form now, as Russell Arnold will be trying to catch back up to Kistler, who actually just made a mistake there in 1 and 2, ran very wide and went outside of the concrete and into the paved area. Brought it back in this time, but it could be an interesting battle ahead here for the 3rd position.
It definitely could be, and Dave Siltman Sr. has got almost like 4 or 5 seconds. So definitely, he's in the 2nd spot, and he doesn't have anybody really challenging him right now. The race right now is for 3rd position. These guys are putting it all on the line here. I mean, even if you can't win the race, finishing 3rd or 4th is still going to be a good point save for you. As we see J.R. Hager come down the pit lane again. And he was actually able to make the pass on Gregory Harris. Gregory Harris was 15 laps down, and now J.R. Hager was able to take that spot from him.
Yeah, and he's just done it on this lap too. So we'll wait and see how that's going to unfold for him, as Bruce Rivers will gain another lap back on J.R. Hager this time. And who knows, Hager might come out of the pits just behind the 72 of Crowder, who actually has let the 23 car of McQuinn back by him.
Interesting. Definitely interesting, considering Bruce Rivers, if he stays out, he definitely could take over J.R. Hager's position, but J.R. Hager should get back out there, considering David Mott Jr. is only, I think, 5 laps ahead of him, and he's out of the race right now. He could still gain that 12th position if he went back out there again.
I think Hager is trying to get some new set of tires because he doesn't like running on old tires, and, well, why not when you're that many laps down? May as well just keep coming in and getting fresh tires every now and then.
Not a lot laps left here. We're verging on 35 here. Definitely the pressure is going to start turning up. A lot of these guys are going to be getting greedy and trying to push it as hard as they can. So we might see some late caution. We'll see. Definitely going to see as these guys turn up the pressure towards the end here.
Yeah, I definitely think Crowder is either experiencing some tire wear problems, or he's just taking it a little bit easy here. Just letting everything flow nicely so he can have some tires for the end. Could also be doing a little bit of fuel saving. But
Keeps going down the apron. I don't know if you saw that, but last time, that last corner there, he went down below the yellow. Definitely an interesting strategy. Oh, oh wow, what is he doing? He's going down to the yellow again. I've never really seen anybody take that line here.
Definitely very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that either. So, Crowder doing some interesting things here. Probably just having a little bit of fun, honestly. But
all he's trying to do here. It might be a good payoff for. You would think it'd be a good payoff for Dave Siltman Sr. But the thing is he's still 10 seconds behind, and he's still putting on time. Look at this. He's able to make the pass on Jason McQuinn.
I think he's just doing this so he can have a little bit of a race with Jason McQuinn, who is so far back that it doesn't really matter.
I have never seen anyone make that line work. That's insanity.
Insanity isn't quite the word for it that I would use. Also, it looks like we might have lost J.R. Hager. He's decided to pack the car up and go get the actual NASCAR ready for next week's race. Sick of driving the super modified around.
Definitely, I don't blame him. I mean, being that many laps down, Bruce Rivers might be able to get a position from J.R. Hager here.
In
He
fact,
might
he
even be able
just
to get
did.
Gregory Harris and David Mott.
Bruce Rivers has just taken over the 13th position from Hager and Harris.
It's good to see him be able to make spots here, considering the tragic thing that happened to him.
Exactly, and in about 4 laps' time, he will be in the 12th position as well. So we'll have to wait and see how that one is going to unfold. As Crowder is actually still pulling away from McQuinn, but the gap between him and second has come down a lot, down to 10.5 seconds. So I think he might be just trying to wear out his tires here. Although he is starting to run normally again. And he is putting a fair bit of time back over the second place car of Siltman.
I think he's just showing off out there.
I think he is. Maybe he just got one of them sandwiches from his grandmother again. And he's just happy to be eating it.
Could be that, for sure. As he does it again, I've never seen anyone go down on the yellow, especially in New Hampshire. A lot of people characterize the apron as lava. It's probably a smart call.
I dare say that it's a smart call to call it lava, because definitely not nice to drive on it around here.
Apparently, Ashton Crowder's using it to turn his car.
As we see the 95 of Bruce Rivers in the pits. And he is just a couple laps away from overtaking David Mott Jr. in the standings. He might just be getting some fresh tires to get back out there and keep on trucking.
I want to watch is Gareth Anderson, who's up to the 7th spot now. That's pretty impressive run for him.
Indeed it is. As look for the right button to click. There he is on screen right now. Got a 1.5 seconds to Adam Walker ahead of him, and a 1.5 seconds back to Ryan Charles behind him. So he's in a little bit of no man's land here.
Probably for the best. I mean, that way he has, you know, if somebody in front of him has an issue, he's pretty well separated to where he would be able to react to a crash.
Well, one would think. I've seen people with 2 seconds gap still get themselves involved in a crash. But that's just because they're idiots.
Chambliss is trying to work on Ryan Shaw right now. We saw Chambliss make that mistake a little bit earlier, and he seems like he's going to try to wrangle that 8th position from Ryan Shaw. I think Ryan Shaw's going to let him go from what I'm hearing on the radio.
And that does look like the case. As to the inside goes Chambliss and up into 8th.
Big gap between the 2nd place and the 3rd place position for sure. It's like 6 seconds. And back to him, there's another second to Alex Kitzler. I probably messed that up, but I'm sure I'll get a mean message later.
Oh, it's alright. We probably both will. But it looks like at the moment the battle is going to be between Alexander Russell and Adam Walker for the 5th position. See the 20 car right up behind the 42 car here.
Definitely an impressive run from Adam Walker. I know that he's actually on the same team as Bruce Rivers, so I'm sure he's carrying the torch for him.
Indeed, he will be. As speaking of Bruce Rivers, he is now into the 12th position. And if this was an official race, he'd only be losing 2 I rating. So that's definitely something.
Definitely something. It could be way worse if it was an official race, but of course it's not. I'd love to. If I was doing these races and they actually did give me official points, I probably would race a lot harder. Coming up on 20 to go here, and some of the guys in the radio are talking about they want a caution, and some people are saying no cautions. So I was talking to Ashton Crowder earlier in the week, reflecting on his Charlotte Roval, when I told him that if he had started a lap down in that race, he actually would have still won. And he didn't believe me, but then he actually did the math, and I was correct.
And that is definitely the truth right there. As Adam Walker, while trying to battle with Alexander Russell there, got a little bit loose. Lost a little bit of ground there to the 5th place driver. And Ashton Crowder now starting to get into some more of the lap traffic, coming up behind Timothy Swiggett in the 37. And to the inside he goes and makes that move very nicely indeed. He now has the gap back to second, back out to about that half a lap region. So he's definitely starting to push it again now, Brian.
He's definitely not running that apron line anymore, so I think he had his fun, and now he's wanting to put that gap back on these guys again, as they're only on 9. There's only 9 cars on the lead lap right now, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be working up on Ryan Shaw here shortly.
Indeed, he should be. He's been taking out quite a bit of time to Ryan Shaw every lap. 1.4 seconds on the previous lap.
My thought is that Ashton Crowder sees how pretty that car of Ryan Shaw is. He just wants to get closer and closer to it.
Well, he's definitely driving like it's a dangling carrot in front of him, that's for sure. So we might have to start calling him a horse here shortly. As you can see in the background there as well, Bruce Rivers was getting right up close and personal with Timothy Swiggett's rear end. But we're not focusing on that. We're just going to watch Crowder here trying to make his way through this traffic, although he will be every now and then stepping back to the 42 car of Alexander Russell, because Adam Walker has caught back up to him as well here, Brian.
Pretty impressive here to see Adam Walker be able to come back from this. I mean, he's been having some troubles himself tonight. I mean, getting a little bit loose, but he's definitely been performing well. He's working on a top 5 here tonight, and that will be a good little paycheck to bring home, especially in the points. He might definitely in the next season, whenever he shows up, he's going to have a lot more experience here, and I think these guys are going to be some of the ones to watch. And Garrett Anderson's up to the 7th position still, and Chamberlain was able to get that move done on Ryan Shaw, apparently.
Yeah, he was, and he's actually caught right up to the back of Anderson as well. Anderson hasn't really been able to make a dent in Adam Walker or Alexander Russell, but Chamberlain has definitely been flying up behind him. We have 15 laps to go, be 14 when Crowder gets to the start-finish line this time. Is right now, and it's exactly half a lap between first and second.
And as Ryan Shaw gets put a lap down by Ashton Crowder, and I think Ashton Crowder is actually going to be able to catch Chambliss and maybe Garrett Anderson, put them a lap down.
Well, as you say that, Chambliss is now putting the move on Anderson. Gets it done in turn 3 very nicely. Lie job style slid up in front of him. and now is going to try and catch up to the 20 of Adam Walker before Crowder gets to him.
I mean, Chamberlain's is like, I mean, he might not have been one of the fastest cars out there tonight, but he's definitely had some pace compared to some of these slower guys. So I think he might be able to get up there to Adam Walker. I mean, it's just a matter of how much laps he has. If we were maybe to extend this race by 10 laps, I have no doubt he would be able to get it done.
But we'll have to wait and see. As we can see Crowder there in the background. He is on Anderson now. To the inside he goes, and he's going to make that move very easy. Using the apron line again. Doing the ultimate slide job on our league owner.
For sure. Putting another car a lap down, and now it'll be only 7 cars on the lead lap.
Before the end of this race, I think we'll only have 4 on the lead lap, possibly 3. I reckon he might just be able to get up to Kissler before the end of this race.
Showing off, I tell you what. Definitely a lot of talent in this car, Ashton Crowder. I mean, he's showing his worth tonight. He shows his worth every time he steps into the car. I mean, this is just a league. You know, usually these guys, when they drive in a league, they really don't maybe care quite as much because there's nothing on the line. But he just steps into the car and he shows what he really is worth, no matter what.
That is exactly right. As we are going to focus on Crowder now. Got 9.5 laps left to run in this race. You can see Bruce Rivers there down on the inside. Looked like Crowder was going to go for the apron pass again, but he's not going to do that with Bruce Rivers running low on the track is what he is. Around the outside of Bruce he goes. Now don't forget, Bruce has much fresher tyres than Crowder right now. Crowder has just been saving them like a god.
I don't understand how he's been saving them driving on the apron like that, but it's working.
Back down to the apron he goes, sliding back up only to the second lane this time. Knew that he didn't have the 20 car cleared. He's got it cleared this time.
Very impressive. He's lapped everybody up to 5th.
Next person on the list of cars to put a lap down will be Alexander Russell.
Being that those two are friends, I wonder if Alex is going to make it hard on him.
I would only hope that he does.
Definitely be interesting to see if Alex wrecks Crowder and makes this race interesting. I mean, it's already been an interesting race to begin with, but just turn it up to 11.
And that would be quite the interesting development as Crowder now using that slider line again down on the apron. Doesn't slide up much, only to the second lane, but takes that one as well. 4 cars left on the lead lap. Let's see if Crowder can catch up to the 01 of Kissler now.
And you called it just right. You said that he might be able to lap everybody up to 3rd place, so interesting.
6 laps left to run in this race. And there's actually quite a bit of a gap here between Crowder and Kissler. It's 4.5 seconds, which, you know, in the context of seconds ain't much, but that's just under a quarter of the track. And it's a lot of physical ground to try and make up here. But you can just see the amount of speed he has. He's just pulling away. 5 laps left to run in this race.
Like Alex Kitzler is having a little bit of problems coming off the corner there, but he seems to save it. That's definitely not going to make it. It's definitely going to make it easier for Crowder to be able to catch him and take that lap. Definitely a valiant effort by Alex Kitzler tonight too. I'm having so much trouble saying that, but he first race of the season with this league, he just sat in one of the cars and they let him come in and race, and he's running 4th right now, so not bad at all.
It's definitely not bad one bit. He has just showed up and shown all the pace in the world. And same too with Siltman sitting there in second. He was probably the only real person to offer a challenge to Crowder, but unfortunately it just hasn't worked out for him. And because of that, everything is going to be all Crowder.
I know Dave Siltman Sr. actually builds a lot of the cars that Crowder would run, or he's taught him a lot. Definitely a name in the community that a lot of people who are in the iRacing community that know anything about anything. Dave Siltman is an excellent car builder, so it shows that he's able to come out here and bring a good car and still be able to drive it well also.
As we have 2 laps left to run in this race. So for the penultimate time, Crowder coming out of turn 2. Doesn't look like he's actually going to be able to lap Kistler or Arnold. He's going to try, but I don't think he will.
Still gets everybody up to 4th place, though. That's or up to 5th, I mean. Definitely an impressive run by Crowder tonight.
Exactly right. As the white flag now waves, white flag last lap, last chance to win it or wear it for Ashton Crowder. And if he's not winning it, then he definitely deserves to wear it, because this is an insurmountable lead that he's got right now. It is 2/3 of the track. That's how big the lead is between himself and the 4 of Siltman. Coming out of turn 4 for the final time, your winner here at New Hampshire in the USANZ League is the 72 of Ashton Crowder. P2 just making his way through turns 3 and 4 now. And that is going to be the 4 car of Dave Siltman Sr. in his debut run here in the USANZ League. 3rd place going to go the way of Russell Arnold in the 34, with 4th being the 01 of Alex Kistler in a good run in his debut here in the USANZ League as well. But let's go and check out the 72 of Ashton Crowder as he goes to do his burnouts, just giving the wall a little bit of a tap, putting the first chink in the armor that is this amazing number 27 car.
Beautiful burnouts.
Indeed they are, and if you're a tier 2 sub over here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel, you will have access to the burnout emote. So make sure you spam that in chat if you do have that subscription level. But guys, we are going to go for another quick break here. When we come back, we will start having driver interviews. So make sure you guys stay tuned. right, here we go, guys. It's interview time. And as of course we always do, we are starting with our top three drivers. And we're kicking things off with the alien himself, the 72 in the standings, the 27 on track, Mr. Ashton Crowder. Ashton, another dominating performance. We noticed that you're taking a very interesting line towards the end of the race, hitting the apron a little bit. Were
Mhm.
you bored, or was that for a reason?
No, I was just faster. I didn't have to really get on the gas until like 3/4 of the way through the corner when I ran that. So I just started cutting the apron basically and going up to the second groove, and it drive me straight off, and I wouldn't have to really do any work to get it to happen. Just the car slowed itself pretty much, and yeah, that's why I was doing that. I reckon I probably freaked a few people out because like that's not a usual line, but yeah, it had a lot of grip, that's for sure.
It
I'll tell you this,
definitely,
you're definitely freaking us out in the broadcast booth.
Sorry about that.
yeah, it was definitely a very interesting looking line, and it was fantastic to watch it. And don't get me wrong, but I just thought that doing a line like that might have just been burning up your tires a little bit more than normal.
Mhm. Well, you would think, but a lot of the time, you're really only well, tire wear comes from sliding. So if you're not actually sliding, um, with the line that you're taking, you're not hurting the tires. And I felt like I was sliding more entering at the second lane than I was down there. So I reckon that honestly probably saved my tires more doing that than a conventional line.
Well, that's a fair call. But we noticed throughout the race there was a couple of times where you'd start a little bit back in the pack. Was that intentional so you could have a little bit of fun working your way through the field, or was there just something that went wrong in the pit stops?
One of the times I had to use the bathroom really bad because I have a bad habit of forgetting to do that. So it gets to the point where I'm literally about to pee myself, and that's what happened there. So I didn't want to embarrass myself, completely on stream. And then I think another time I was eating as well. But it's once again, or I want to say like it's not an ego thing. It's just purely like my grandmother would bring me food, and I don't want to just waste it because it gets stale and stuff. And yeah, that's just how that goes. So hopefully nobody thinks that I'm trying to be a jerk when that stuff happens. It's not the intention.
Well, when you're powered by PB&J, I guess amazing things can happen. And you lapped all the way up to, what was it, fifth place. Only the top four left on the lead lap, which considering this is an oval and not a road course like what it was last week, is an
Hmm.
amazing feat because we have cautions.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all just like tire saving and fuel saving too. Just being able to push just the whole way through. So I don't really know how to explain being able to lap people, but I guess it's just being nice to your car and the pace comes with it. I don't ever really try to be fast, um, which can get me into some trouble sometimes. But late in the runs, it really shows just being easy on it, and that's where that comes in. So I'll just stop trying to think about it and just keep doing what I'm doing, I suppose.
Well, it's definitely working out for you, man. But before we let you go, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to here tonight?
Uh, so first, want to give huge shout out to the league admins, the boys back at the shop, for letting Dave Siltman and Alex Kitzlar. I never pronounced his last name, but I've known him for a pretty long while. And I was in my Discord, right? And I was like, I really want these guys to race with me, especially Dave, because I haven't raced with him in, gosh, probably like 2 years or so, year and a half at least. So I was like, how cool would it be if they, raced here tonight? And sure enough, it was New Hampshire, and Dave's like, and you'll hear him in a second. He has like a 50-year-old's voice, but he's like 23 or something. But He's like, I don't want to race. It's New Hampshire. I'll race next week. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, dude, you'll have fun. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna race. So I had to convince him, and then he ended up having fun. So you need to start listening to me. I'm telling you. But yeah, just thanks Ryan and the boys for letting them get in here. That does mean a lot to me because, like I said, I haven't been able to race with Dave in a while, and I don't think I've ever actually done a race with Alex before, so that was cool. Scuderia Crowder, also known as Siltman Crowder Racing, the true name of that. You know, we're going to, I think, Daytona on Tuesday. Sadly, I'm still purged from the series, but I can watch my man Brian Schoenberg race, so hopefully we'll do good in that. You guys for putting on the broadcast, like I said, the league, and just everybody, man, and especially Jacqueline Bickle. She had to leave, but I love her, and now we're here today. So yeah, huge shout out to her.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming out and putting on another absolutely dominating performance. We might have to give you a weight penalty for next week just because you're so damn dominant. Gotta do something to
Oh
reel you
no,
back just a little bit.
10-4. Thank you.
And also, guys, just take note. This is the second time his grandmother has bought him PB and J, and this is the second time he hasn't thanked her in the thank you section.
Oh no, wait, no. Huge shout out to her. Yeah.
That is a shame, Ashton.
The two most important women in my life, Jackie and her. Thank you. Oh, and my mom. Well, three. So there you go.
All right, well, thank you very much again, man, and congratulations on another dominating victory.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next, we do have one of the new people to the league, and of course, it is the four car of David Siltman. David, good run from you, man. Mired back in the pack a few times throughout the race, but once you got into that second place and we had some clear sailing with Green Flag Racing, you just pulled away from everyone.
Yeah, it was the car was it was really difficult to get a grip on the tires. Had to really save. Few times was trying. I got a bit of a scuffle with the 88. Didn't mean to get into him. I don't know exactly what happened there. I got a little sideways in the center. And I was trying to roll the center, and I just slid up a little too far, and I think we got into each other. That's that first incident, and then the second was avoiding a wreck, and I got hit from behind, and then I ended up. At first, I was like, "Car's killed," and didn't know if I was gonna be able to match power with these guys, but I stuck with it and saved my tires and started trying to pick them off one at a time.
Well, it's definitely a strategy that seemed to work out for you, but again, you know, you had the pace there to beat our regulars, but you just couldn't quite get towards Crowder after he was putting on such a dominant performance there.
Yeah, he's definitely very very consistent on his tires. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and will save his stuff. He won't overdrive. And that's the thing that he's worked on for years, is not overdriving. And when you save your stuff and not overdrive, it will pay dividends later in the race.
I mean, this was your first race with us here this season in the USANZ League. What is your first impressions of the league so far, and how excited are you to continue running with us for the rest of the season?
Oh, it was a blast. I haven't I haven't even did a race in about a year and a half to 2 years. This is the first race I've done in a while. I've normally been doing setup stuff on here, but that was a blast and I enjoyed it. I look forward to doing more races with you guys.
Definitely, I've definitely heard of you before, and you definitely build a lot of setups and stuff like that. So how does it feel to be able to come out here and be able to, you know, put a show on, even though you're usually on the setup building side, and you think you perform really well considering.
Yeah, it's just more of not over driving my car because a lot of the time there, like the car was stepping out on me. So what I started to do towards I adjusted my line and then kind of made sure I was not sliding it, and then I was driving about 40-50% off the corners, about just about that. Because if I would have went any harder, it was starting to step out.
Now,
Or
just
I'd have to
curious.
correct.
Now, I'm just curious, as a set builder yourself, what kind of adjustments would you have made during the race to try to make that car better, if you could have?
I definitely would have went down on the either the right rear spring or the right rear track bar to tighten up the exit, or adjusted the tire pressures to make the exit a lot smoother on exit, or the exit a lot smoother on throttle.
Well, definitely a good show tonight.
All right, man.
Yep,
Definitely.
it's a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for coming out tonight, man. Anyone you want to give a quick shout out before we let you go here tonight?
I want to give a shout out to Ashton for recommending me to race for you guys.
As we can see the contact here when you're checking up for the crash. Oh, yeah, you're definitely caught up in that. We didn't actually see that because we were too focused on the two parties that were involved in it.
I had avoided it, and then I thought I was clear, and next thing you know, I was getting turned around, and I was like, I think my car's killed here.
Well, the main thing is you survived to live on and you ended up getting second place, man, which was an amazing feat after the damage that we could physically see. And hopefully you can have another run of good luck next week as well.
Oh, definitely. I've always liked Richmond. Should be a lot of fun.
All right, man. Well, thank you for coming out and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Yep, thank you.
All right, coming up next will be our third place driver. Of course, I'm going to be talking to the 34 car of Russell Arnold. Russell, great race from you here tonight, man. You were just picking away in the top five for the majority of the race, and you ended up coming out with the third place. How was the battling for you throughout the race, battling with Chambliss and Alexander Russell, and ultimately gaining the third position there?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. While we were battling, and I was right behind Shamless. The whole time I was thinking, I'm like, this is who I'm fighting in points. I can't make any mistakes. And, eventually he had self spun coming off two, I think. And, I was able to relax a little bit and just start picking them off.
Well, it definitely looked like a very fun race from our perspective. Um, you know, it just seemed every other lap you guys were, you know, involved in that battle together. Um, what was it like just being in such close quarters the entire race and not really having a chance to breathe or think about it, just battle, battle, battle the entire time?
Yeah, it definitely keeps you on your toes. My hands are, cramping right now just from gripping the steering wheel so tight the whole time. But even with that, it's still a lot of fun, and glad to get a good finish after I made a mistake, on like lap 14 or something. I got sent to the back, but yeah, I was glad I was able to work my way back up.
All right, man. Well, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, as always, to my wife and kid for putting up with me, let me do this. For you in the booth, you do a great broadcast every week. for the admins, all the work they do on building the setups and putting these races on for us. Just really appreciative and happy to be here.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming out, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Sure, we'll see how I do at Richmond. Thank you.
All right, guys. So that was the 34 of Russell Arnold, today's third place getter. And now we are going to open up the floodgates and allow everyone else into here. In fact, we might just go join them in the waiting room. So let's just start dragging everyone down and let's go join them. Hello, everyone.
What's up?
So,
Howdy. Hello.
All right, so the next person on our list to bug the absolute living crap out of is the man we don't even know how to say his last name properly. Today's fourth place getter, the 01 of Alex Kissler. Alex, how do we pronounce your last name first and foremost before we fuck it up anymore?
Oh no, that was actually right on.
Yes, we got it. It took us like half the race, but we got it right.
Oh really?
Yep. We were calling you Kitzler to begin with, and then it just evolved into Kissler.
No, that's fine. That's honestly that's pretty good.
All right, man. Well, it was a great debut for you as well here tonight. You were towards the front, towards the back, but always on the move, looking forward to getting towards the front of the pack again. What was the race like from your perspective?
Well, I have to thank Ashton for pressuring me into it, because I was like, I don't feel like racing, and then he pressured me into it. But it was a lot of fun, and then I was looking at a netcode replay and went a lap down from that.
Yeah, we wondered what
And-
happened.
Yeah, I was looking at a replay / getting my damage fixed from getting doored, and then I was hoping for another caution to get back on the lead lap and then save tires from there.
Well, what's
So, but
funny
it was
is
a fun strategic race. Honestly, the way we had to save tires and whatnot really helped, because I was probably fifth or sixth, and then or wherever I was, the pack in front of me was battling, and then I caught him that way.
well, one little thing that I think is a little bit funny is that not even the man who got you into here last minute knows how to say your last name properly until probably now. Because pretty sure I saw him. Yeah, he's still in here. And yeah, he didn't even know how to say your last name properly. So
Oh,
it just
really?
cleared something up for him as well.
I must have had him muted when he was saying my last name.
I've
You-
never
so-
said your last name once, actually.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Some people, it's either they go by my last name or they don't say it at all. So until it comes up, then you
Okay.
realize, oh, I don't know how to say that.
Well, as a broadcaster, the way I always look at it is that I'm saying it the correct way until I'm otherwise corrected.
Yeah, I mean, and it's honestly it's one of those weird names to try to get right, but I've heard worse attempts, so it's not the end of the world.
Well, man, this was also your first race here with us tonight in the USANZ League. What's your first impressions, and how much are you looking forward to running with us for the rest of the season?
It was good. It was pretty more green than I thought it would be, honestly, which was good because I kind of like green flag racing, anyways. And I plan to stay for sure.
Well, that is very awesome to hear. I'm glad that you enjoyed yourself while you were here. And by the looks of things in the race, you had a lot of interesting battles as well.
Yeah, I was trying to pass Russell. I think he was playing games with me. So once I got to him, or I would get to a certain point, and then he pulled me back. So it was just one of those things. I kind of settled for fourth, and that was it.
All right, man. Well, before we let you go, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to here tonight?
Just my mother. There we go. That's who I'm going to give a shout out to.
You know what? That's already one step better than Ashton because 2 weeks he got PB&J sandwiches from his grandmother, And 2 weeks, he forgot to give her a shout out when I asked for shout outs.
Mid race
Yeah.
too, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
mid
whatever,
race,
I
man.
wish I could get
powered
delivery.
by PB&J.
Yeah, that's what it is. We need to take the PB&Js away, and maybe we'll have a chance.
All right, man. Well, thank you for coming out, and we look forward to seeing what you can do again next week.
Thank you.
All right, coming up now is going to be our 5th place driver, who is going to be our 42. Where is the 42? There's the 42 of Alexander Russell. Alex, not a bad race from yourself as well. You found yourself in the front a little bit, but always constantly towards the top 5. What was the race like from your perspective?
Oh, it was a hard race. This goes down as probably one of the hardest races I've done outside of endurance racing. It was a mentally challenging race the entire night. Ashton had such a good car, and I was just like, I don't think I'm going to make it past lap 1 based on how practice was going with the setup. Because, again, I decide to show up without practice. And so I had 20 minutes with the setup, and it was like, I'm gonna crash this car. And in qualifying, I spun out. So yeah, the car was not in my favor for tonight. That's for sure.
Well, it definitely looked like an interesting race for you. Started in 10th because of the spin out, which I'm pretty sure we got on the broadcast.
Oh,
But
no.
oh yes. But it was a good little fight back for you to get through the field and get towards the front, which in the green flag run, you were there, and you just about had the 3rd and 4th places locked down, but just a little bit of bad luck, and you fell back down to 5th.
Yeah. The main thing is this race is right before the race started. Ashton was like, "Okay, guys, don't race side by side for longer than you have to in the long run, because you're just gonna wreck. Especially you, Alex. You've been wrecked the last few races, so I want you to have a good finish." I'm like, "All right." And so what do is I run side by side for half the race, and almost get wrecked.
Well,
That's just the fun in racing.
that is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, man.
Alex, do you think that maybe you finished better this week because you were not, rocking the Belle Delphine paint scheme?
No, I think either way, this car would have been an interesting race. I had McDonald's earlier this week, so that's why I have the McDonald's paint scheme tonight.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, but I don't know how you can have Belle Delphine and then have her on your car. Because
We're
no,
gonna
that
need to
just
add a
sounds a lot of
small little
nasty.
decal on that car, just so she has a space to sit when it's the off week.
All right, man. Well, before we let you go, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Um, so we're gonna one up Ashton again with the mom. She bought dinner for tonight, and so that was really nice. And thank you guys at the broadcast, the admin team, Siltman Crowder Racing, for letting me be in the chat with them and helping me out through the race. Starcom Racing for since I can't run 00, I run 42. But if I had the 00, I'd be running them. And um, everyone else in the league for racing. It was a lot of fun tonight. I had so many great battles with all the different drivers of the series.
All right, man. Well, thank you for coming out, and we look forward to seeing what you can do next week.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next, just having a look who we still got in here. We've you. I think the next person is going to be our 7th place finisher of Mr. Adam Walker. Adam, uh, not a bad race from you, man. 7th place, very respectable. What was the race like from your perspective?
It was a really good race, actually. Other than when I shot it into the field at one time. and almost wrecked people.
Well, that does happen sometimes. We can't help a little bit of human error every now and then. But otherwise, it was a fairly decent race from yourself there, man.
It was. I'm not entirely good at New Hampshire, so
Was there anything in the race that really stood out to you that helped you improve on your performance here today?
um, Bruce staying behind me. Anytime you get on my rear end, I'd start pushing myself further.
Well, I guess you guys are teammates, and that's what teammates are for at the end of the day, right?
Yep.
Very short answers. I love it. We can get through the interview really quickly. And nothing. Wow. This is the best driver in the world. He doesn't lie. But Adam, before we let you go, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to here tonight?
Just everyone that's racing with us this week, and for having a good race and not a caution fest.
All right, awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for coming out. We look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next, because we'll talk to Ryan later, we're going to talk to the 37 car of Mr. Timothy Swiggett. Timothy,
Hey, Corey. What's up,
g'day.
Corey?
It doesn't have a great race here tonight, man. What went wrong from your perspective?
It was unfortunate. I think I wound up was like second or third fastest in practice and decided not to qualify and just start in the back. And I don't know, maybe around lap 60, I'd worked my way up to about fourth place and definitely felt like I was a top five today. And then the leaders tangled right there in front of us, and then some other cars didn't check up and they got into each other, and then it collected me and put me in the wall. And I was just unfortunate. I don't know. I got most of it fixed, and the car was okay. It just wouldn't, it was too much body damage on the front, and it wouldn't turn in the center of the corner. But hey, that's those guys were up there racing. I'm not really sure what happened with them. It was unfortunate. We got a hell of a race going for fourth place in the championship, and just trying to gain points. And luckily, even after all that. I was still able to gain points on the other two guys that were racing for fourth place. So all in all, I guess it turned out all right tonight. But definitely would have liked to have been up there in the top five for get a couple more points.
Well, it definitely helps gaining points on the people you're racing against in the championship. And I guess at the end of the day, it's still a top 10. So it's still a fairly decent result when you look at it in the broad spectrum of things. But definitely that damage hindered you a bit tonight.
My understanding, though, I think the fourth place is the cutoff point for the last race playoff. I don't know. Maybe Ryan can confirm that or deny it. I don't know, but
Fourth
was
place is the last for the cashable spots. The fifth and the sixth place drivers are going to be fighting for the iRacing dollars in the last race.
So yeah, definitely racing for that fourth spot's important right now, and I think we're only at like 4 or 5 points separating us. But you're talking about working with teammates with Bruce, and I was screaming at Ryan the last 3 laps. Let me by, give me a point, and that asshole wouldn't let me by and get a point.
Well, sometimes teammates are there to help, sometimes they're there to hinder. And, Ryan's out for himself. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I didn't really care. I knew as long as I finished ahead of the other two guys, I was in good shape.
All right, man. Well, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, definitely. My oldest son Alex, I built a new 80/20 sim rig this week, and he spent a couple of days helping me turn nuts and bolts on it. So he really helped me out a lot with that. And of course, you, Corey, and then all the guys, Ryan and Gareth and Aaron, and all them put this on for us.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming out again tonight. And we look forward to seeing you again next week.
You too, bud.
All right, guys. So that was our 9th place finisher of Mr. Timothy Swiggett. Love saying his last name. Just rolls off the tongue so nicely. Coming up next, this could be where it starts to get a little bit controversial. But we are, of course, going to be talking to the 95 car, and let's get a picture of him where he's not in the pits. There we go. 95 car of the one and only Mr. Bruce Rivers. Bruce. So that happened tonight. It was very unfortunate what happened. But other than that, how was the race for you here tonight beforehand?
It was great. I helped my teammate get better speed and stuff. All in all, great race. Learned I could actually run at the front. And great race and all.
All right, man. Now let's talk about what happened on that restart. You started from pole, and you were racing real hard there with the 88. What happened on the restart, and then the actual incident itself?
I was gonna let him by because I knew he was gonna pass me because he was close, but he just flat out dumped me going into one. Don't understand. And then he hit me twice after everybody passed, so don't understand. Guess he was mad or something that I was running in front of him. He has a feud with me, and I'll tell you this: I'm gonna race him hard.
Well, I wouldn't expect anything less because you know, even though you had the opportunity to wreck him back later on in the race, chose not to take it, and I reckon that would make you the bigger man in the situation, even if your voice makes you sound like a small child. But it was definitely a good race from you in the starting stages of it, and then you still finished in 12th at the end of the day, which is not a bad result considering what unfolded for you.
Yeah, definitely a good result. Just got all my damage fixed and ran out, and then I found out JR left and them, so then I just continued.
All right, man. Well, before we let you go, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to here tonight?
My teammate Adam, the admins and everything, to you for broadcasting all the races, to everyone that did the race, and thanks to Ashton for beating the whole field. Um, he makes us all better.
Indeed, he does. And the more we race with him, the better everyone is going to get at the end of the day. But man, as I said, unlucky tonight, but still a decent result considering. And we look forward to seeing what you can do again next week.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So that was the 95 car of Bruce Rivers. Now it's time for us to start bugging the absolute shit out of our two league owners. And we're going to kick things off with the 00 of Gareth Anderson. Gareth, you got yourself into 11th after being in the top 10 for a while there. Did something unfold in the final few laps that we didn't see?
Yeah, my shitty connection. Well, it wasn't really my shitty connection. It was more my flatmates downloading crap. So that's what made me drop out. I lost it all with about 3 to go. So
Oh, damn, that is unfortunate because you were on for a decent top 10 there. I think we saw you up in about 7th, and you're looking fairly strong there towards the end of the race.
yeah, my tires were gone, man. I was trying to catch Adam. That wasn't working. I think Brian passed me with about 10 to go, and I was just trying to stay ahead of the 48, who's behind me. So good race though. I think that might have been the best race of the season, to be fair.
It was definitely right up there as one of the better races that I believe we've covered in the broadcast. But again, man, it's just the luck of the draw sometimes when it comes to internet connection, and that's just the deal with online racing, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't lose sleep over it. So it's I might do next week with my favorite track coming up. But yeah, it's just a race online. It's not life or death, and it's just a bit of fun. So it was an awesome race. Well done to the top three. Pretty tight at the top there, closing down to the end of the season, and yeah, it's been an awesome first season. To be fair, really enjoyed it.
All right, man. Well, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to here this afternoon before we let you go?
Oh, same as usual, man. Just everyone for supporting the league in its first season. You do an awesome job broadcasting, so thanks for that. To Ryan, for all the help he gives us and work we do on it, and the rest of the admin team and Starcom, and yeah, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming out. Unfortunately, that internet droppage did lose you a good position, but at the end of the day, there's always next week.
Always next week, Richmond Raceway. Here we come.
All right, so guys, that was Gareth, today's 11th place finisher. 3 laps down. Damn, that sucks. But coming up next, we're talking to the other admin, and he came home with what should have been Gareth's position of P8. Of course, talking to the 48 of Ryan Chow. Ryan, your car looked fucking fantastic today.
Well, it looked horrible early. I decided I was going to run around in the back for the first half of the race, but somehow I figured out how to get around this place by the end. And if we had another few laps, I might have actually made up a few positions. But don't tell Gareth, but I actually just disconnected his internet from here. I have a switch, so when I couldn't get by him, I just shut it off. It was easier.
I was actually talking about the aesthetics of your car. The new paint job looks pretty schmick on the car tonight.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I worked for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes on it.
Somehow that does not surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah, it was
I had to mention it too. It was beautiful.
labor of love, man. Labor of love.
All right, man. Well, let's talk about the race as a whole. Obviously, it was a bit of a up and down race for quite a few people, yourself included. You're towards the back for the majority of the race, actually. But you managed to fight your way back up to 8th towards the end there, which is quite the decent result considering.
Yeah, 8 positions isn't bad. I honestly thought I was joking on the radio with some of the guys as we were getting to about lap 30 that I might as well just come up and see you because I'll probably actually do better from the booth than in the car. But this isn't one of my favorite tracks. I did have a pretty decent showing in the A class race not that long ago. We ran it in official, but that was in the open where I could just build what I wanted, and I'm a lot better in an open car. But this is pretty challenging with the exit the way it is. You really got to feather the throttle, got to be careful with the car, and like Ashton said, you got to save your stuff. If you noticed, people were running with him early, but they were running with him because he was holding back a little bit and they were pushing. So once they wore their stuff out, that's when he started building a gap. And then we got a caution, and everybody came back together, and we tried it again. And some other people led tonight, which was nice to see. But of course, Ashton's just tough to beat, man. So I think some people learned some stuff tonight about how to run this place, watching him run around it, and I know I did. And I've gone actually back and looked at the replay of some of the incidents we've had, and if I had a NASCAR hauler, I would call people to it at this point. But we'll do that some other time. Gareth and I have to talk about it first. But this type of stuff is just not going to happen here. And without speaking to anything specifically, there were multiple incidents tonight. Some accidents, some on purpose. And we have rules. We have decorum that we want to maintain. And if we're going to have guys here that don't want to do that, they're going to sit down for a week or two and think about it. So we'll go over that as an admin team and make some decisions and get you back some info for next week.
All right, no worries. Well, before we let you go here tonight, Ryan, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, Gareth, you, great broadcast as usual. Nobody said it, but I'm gonna give some props to Britt. Britt's been kicking some butt with these broadcasts and his other broadcasting opportunities that he's had. We as a team in Starcom got to watch some of it, and he's doing a great job. I think he's got a good future in talking over some of these races. It's fun to listen to. So to him, my wife and my kids, like everybody else, they put up with this crazy hobby that we have that takes up a lot of time, and especially running this league and being part of some other stuff, it is time consuming. So thank you to them. Aaron, for all the work he's done this season, and it's going to be a good last 2 races, I think. We got prize fund up for the end of the year. I'm going to post it on our internal site, but just for purposes of being here, there's a $200 cash prize going to be split at the top, and then was it $15 in iRacing credit for 5th, and $10 in iRacing credit for 6th. And I believe the breakdown is 150, 25, and 10, I think, in cash. So I got to double check, but I'm pretty sure that's what we broke it down to.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ryan. And we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. So this will be the end of our broadcast now, as I gotta find the right button to press. It'll be that one. Until next week, when we go to the International Raceway, on behalf of Brian Britt, my co-commentator here tonight, who scared the living crap out of me when he first jumped into the booth, I have been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator. We'll say ciao for now.